Hi, this is Lisa from rollergirl.ca. Today we're reviewing the anatomy of a roller skate. We obviously won't be covering all types of roller skates and roller skate components, just the common ones. This is a roller skate. The boot, the plate, the wheels, the stopper, and the truck assembly. Let's look at those components in more detail. There are two common types of roller skate stoppers, 5/16 and 5/8 inch stoppers. 5/8 inch stoppers look like this. Note the big stem coming off the stopper head. 5/8 inch stoppers often come with a stopper nut and a stopper washer for hardware. Sometimes they are secured to the plate with a stopper screw directly. 5/16 stoppers look like this. Note the hole in the middle of the stopper. They are secured to the plate with a stopper screw. The stopper screw goes through the center of the stopper and they are attached to the plates like that. We made detailed videos on the installation and adjustment of roller skate stoppers. The links are in the description. This is a roller skate wheel. Inside a roller skate wheel you will find 2 ball bearings and sometimes a bearing spacer. The bearings are pressed into the wheel, one on each side, with the bearing spacer, if you're using one, in between. The wheel is installed on the skate on the axle. You will sometimes find a washer. They are not necessary unless you're using bearing spacers, but you will often find them on your skates. The washer goes first, then the wheel, the secondary washer, and the wheel nut. Make sure to tighten your wheel nuts properly. If you're not using bearing spacers, tighten down your wheel nuts till there's just a little bit of play and yet the wheels still roll smoothly. If you are using bearing spacers, tighten your wheel nut completely until you can't tighten it any further. You will notice that the wheels don't roll quite as smoothly, but they will under load. This is what your plates look like without the truck assembly and stopper assemblies. There are a few components I'd like to point out. First of all, this is your Kingpin. The Kingpin is a bolt that looks like this. It can either come up from the bottom of the plate, as on the Sunlite plate, or sometimes they'll be threaded from the top down. Another component that is important is your pivot cups. They are located here, and the pivots of the trucks seat into these. The pivot cups can come out on most models, and they will look like this. The stopper hole is a different size in the two plates, a larger size for 5/8 inch stoppers and a smaller size for 5/16 inch stoppers. Now let's look at the components of the truck assembly. If you have an inverted Kingpin truck assembly, where the Kingpin comes up from the bottom of the plate, then you will have these components. A bottom retainer, a cushion, a truck with an axle and a pivot, an upper cushion, an upper retainer, and a Kingpin nut. If you have the type of Kingpin assembly, which is referred to as a regular Kingpin assembly, where the Kingpin goes down into the plates, then you will have the same parts except for no Kingpin nut and instead a locking nut on your Kingpin. The truck assembly is built on the Kingpin. On the inverted assembly, you start with the retainer, the bottom retainer, the bottom cushion, which can be a little tight, the truck, the pivot seats into the pivot cup, the upper cushion, the upper retainer, and the Kingpin nut. At this point, you would tighten down the Kingpin nut and adjust your trucks appropriately. If you have a regular Kingpin assembly where the Kingpin goes down into the plate, you may have to install the truck assembly on the Kingpin before you install it on the plate. You will often see this type of plate on sure grip skates and vintage skates. To do so, you start by taking the Kingpin, installing the top retainer, the top cushion, then the truck, the bottom cushion, and the bottom retainer. Now the locking nut, and only after completely installing the truck assembly on the Kingpin, you insert the pivot into the pivot cup and install the Kingpin into the plate. being careful not to strip the plate. After this, you would make sure to tighten down that locking nut and adjust your trucks properly. Most beginner and intermediate skates will have an inverted kingpin assembly where the kingpin comes up from the bottom of the plate. This type of kingpin assembly is the easiest to maintain and adjust. It's really important, though, to know if you do have the regular kingpin assembly where the kingpin threads down into the plate, because with this type of assembly, it's actually possible for your truck to completely come off of your skate, and this can be dangerous. So if you have this type, it's important that you keep them well maintained and adjusted. I hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe. Happy skating!